Hello, good morning. Good morning from Lao. Okay, hold on a second. I don't know if you can see that. They literally came just as I went live. There we go. That was good timing. Good morning, everybody. Hi, Tariq. All right, so let me just reposition myself. Um, this hotel doesn't have a lot of space for places to go live from. Hi, Annette. Good to see you. Sorry. As some of you know, I got up very, very early and saw Annette and Ella in the guide spotlight. That was at 3 a.m. This lighting is terrible. What can I do about that? Hi, Tish. Hi, Sarah. So did you see the monks walk past? I wish I could find a better place to sit. Oh, look, there we go. There's some more. There, do you see them? Look at this little one. So, baby. They don't talk. They don't talk. They just get their offerings. There. And there's a couple of Chinese tourists walking past, following them. All right. Perfect timing indeed. All right, now I need to find a better place to sit where the lighting's just a little bit better. I think I'll sit. They're setting up for breakfast, see, and in an hour is breakfast. But I think I'm safe to sit down right over here. Okay. All right, we're going to do this. That's okay, Nick. Don't worry about it. I did that I did that yesterday. When did I do that? I did that the other day. I was in the wrong account. I had to switch out. The reason that I set up over there was because it's near a PowerPoint. This is much better. All right, everyone, we're going to do this. We're going to revisit the last 6 months. If I can get myself organised. Who's here? Hi, Tish. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Mary Lou, Annette, and Tariq so far. And if anyone else comes along and watches this later, we are revisiting 6 months of travel. So we've been on the road since January, and I've been live streaming for the entire time, but I've also been taking photos and doing stuff that doesn't actually end up going live at the time. So we are going to revisit the last 6 months through stuff that you probably haven't seen before. And I hope the way that I've put it together is successful. Let's put it that way. So we left Australia in January and we headed for Singapore. But a day or two before we left, I actually went and visited Susanna. So I've included a little bit of my visit to Melbourne in the last 6 months as well in the recap. Right, so let's go. Let's do this. And I just need to pop this up here and we'll start. So I've begun with people that we met along the way that you probably will recognise most of them. So we've got Susanna and Quay, and this is our guide that comes along on my tours sometimes, Fuzley from EPO. Lots of pictures of Quay and Con as well. This was when Richard went to Quay's dentist in Da Nang, and we had dinner with him in Hanoi. Um, and this is the staff at the hotel we stayed at Hoi An. We're with Kong on one of his tours, so he's there with his guests, and then we met this elderly gentleman during that tour as well. And these were the guests on his tour, all with their huge cameras. This was Richard's friend Ian and Min with her rubber plantation. And now we're moving to buildings. So in Singapore, the beautiful buildings of the Peranakan district, along with the gorgeous Marina Sands Hotel. In Malacca, we had the wonderful Dutch Square, and then the beautiful river, beautiful buildings along the river, the waterfront in Malacca. There's music in this, but I've turned it very low, very soft. So I hope it's just not annoying now. More of the buildings in Malacca. So these are the windows that go through along the breezeway, and then an absolutely beautiful manor house. And the ancient or old Sultanate Palace, and the ruins of a church. This was the building that we were staying in. And we visited the Royal Mosque in Kuala Kangsar. In Penang, the buildings dominate the landscape. There's the floating mosque. Lots and lots of different temples of different backgrounds. And then we've got the jetties, the clan jetties, with beautiful adornments as well. And then we're back in Kuala Lumpur and the Indian Quarter. This was in Hoi An with the French connection, and the railway station in Da Nang. You can see the French influence there as well in the name, Gare Da Nang, Gare from the French, the railway station. And another beautiful palace in Hue, this time the Emperor's Palace in the citadel, the old citadel. And the yellow is a dominant colour, partly because it was restricted for so long through the French era, where it was only the top echelon that was allowed to use the colour yellow in their buildings. So when the communists came into power, the yellow was dictated that everyone's allowed to have access to the yellow now. So that's why there are so many yellow buildings in Vietnam. Has my signal just dipped, everybody? Can you still see everything okay? My signal looks like it might have dipped a little. More of the buildings in Hanoi. Oh, thanks, Annette. And then with some interesting internal sculpture. Buildings on stilts. Bit fuzzy? Okay, thanks. I can see that the signal has dipped a little. I don't really know whether I can do anything about it. It looks fine when I look at the indicator on my laptop. And these buildings were at the top of the hill in Sapa, and then returning to Hanoi, this mansion house. I said to Annette, this is where I was talking to you, Annette, over the call, the messenger call. That building, the cupola in the distance there, is the church I said I could see, that I went looking for that morning. Now in Chiang Mai, and then back to Kuala Lumpur, a little bit out of order there. Close one eye too. That building in Chiang Mai managed to insert itself a little bit early in the presentation. I'm not sure how that happened. The beautiful Petronas Towers in Kuala Lumpur, that was simply stunning. So we're moving on to decorative elements and beautiful tiles everywhere. Lots of beautiful tiles, particularly in Malacca. Hi, Alicia. This is the ornamentation on one of the temples in Malacca. And this was at a memorial, which was recognising the loss of life of the locals suffered at the hands of the Japanese in Malacca. Yes, that's right. That was the time. That was the mansion that I was looking for. That I thought was a church. Of course, Chinese New Year's gives another opportunity for more decorations. And I was going to talk about that pineapple. Pineapple, the reason they use a pineapple in the Chinese New Year celebrations, it was explained to me that pineapple, the word for pineapple in one Chinese language, actually, same word in a different Chinese language means good luck, good fortune. So that's why they use the pineapple as a symbol for Chinese New Year. Drinking wine. I haven't had a glass of wine since I left Australia. You know that, don't you? First of all, it's not great. Secondly, it's expensive. But these are fish traps that are adorning this outdoor um, ornament, yard ornament in Linwood. And I love the umbrella theme, the coloured umbrella theme. Lanterns in Sapa and more umbrellas. We've been to lots of places of worship, and I haven't shown you very many of them at all in this presentation, just a few. So this is inside the mosque in Singapore, and that's the outside from the street. We've seen Hindu temples, which are absolutely gorgeous. And this is inside that temple in Singapore. And it's still the same temple, absolutely beautiful. And that's on the outside of the same temple. And then garlands which are used throughout the Hindu religion. That's the floating mosque in Malacca. The beautiful royal mosque in Kuala Kangsar. This was the Thai temple in Penang, in Malaysia, where we saw a reclining Buddha. And this was inside the temple, one of the cave temples in Ipoh, with the amazing formations, the limestone formations. I might have turned that music down too far. Sorry, guys, it's just a little bit distracting now, isn't it? Not being able to hear it at all. These are all inside these cave temples. We visited 4 of them in Ipoh. And then this is an amazing pagoda in Hanoi, and the Burmese temple in Penang, which is absolutely gorgeous as well. And now this is the Batu Caves. Famous Batu Caves. Richard went up those stairs. I didn't. You might remember this walk we did just recently in Chiang Mai. That was a Wednesday walk. And that was the local temple just around the corner from where we were staying. So I went inside that later on in the day. I'm waiting on him giving us his address, Annette. I'm very slack talking to my brother. Finally emailed him yesterday. And this was the Buddha that you could put the gold leaf on in the Watcheti Luang stays. We've had some rather interesting stays in Kuala Lumpur. The places that we stayed in were really, really cheap for what you got, even complete with little exercise and chill out areas. That was the incredible pool, the pool in Malacca. Just amazing, the views from there. And then we were on another 34th floor or something when we got to Penang. We were very grateful for the property costs. This was our room in Hoi An. It's just across there, the other side of that. I thought I did really well capturing that gift. That's where I did that tour from with Hoi from this hotel, where we watched Annette making fur, and we were supposed to get Annette onto my tour, and I never quite made that work. That was a bit of a fail. That was our hotel in Minden, the one you just saw the pool. And now we're in Krabi Beach in Thailand with that amazing view. On to markets. There's the famous durian. We still haven't tried it. We're not brave enough. That's the market, the Saturday market in Ipoh. The wet market in Hoi An. And in Hue, I actually finally bought myself a new shirt. In Hue, the market has some amazing, these are all chili pastes. And then in Hanoi, the street vendors. In Cuppa, the live seafood. A little bit confronting to me. Those were horseshoe crabs. I'm not sure I'm totally comfortable with that. Excuse me. This is the local market near where we were staying, at near where Min lived, the bamboo market, which was absolutely incredible. Those are the weaver bird nests. They collect them and use them as decorations. And we got ourselves a cold drink in there. We were actually there before official opening time, so we didn't actually see very many of the stalls actually open, but it was so beautiful, just the bamboo. And that's your snakeskin fruit, or salak, I think it's called, is the name of it. And this is the night food markets in Krabi. So much food on offer. Plants, flowers, trees. I intended this section just for you to watch and enjoy without me talking. All right, so we also saw lots of light shows, things that were lit up. The temples in Penang. Oh, that signal's gone down again. I'm going to move and see if I can get a better signal. Oh, the signal's really bad. Sorry, guys. Can't find a good spot for it. Here's here. Here, right here. Okay, so the lights, you saw all the lights. The lights was fairly self-explanatory. I didn't need to walk you through that. We saw history and culture, and then I remember that you really enjoyed me sharing images, photos of this place, the printing museum in Malacca. This was the memorial again to the Japanese. Sorry, the Chinese that were killed by the Japanese. Chinese New Year. Oh, the signal's dropped again. The fort on the hill in Malacca, St. John's Fort. These were the fortune-telling sticks inside a temple. And the guy explained how that all worked. We saw old 15th century, 16th century tombs from the Portuguese and the Dutch in Malacca. And again, the garlands that are used in worship. That was at a train station while we were waiting for our train. We could see that temple in between the train carriages. And Penang had beautiful temples as well. That one was just around, this one was on the coast. The previous one was just up the road from where we were staying. That one I wasn't allowed into with a camera. And then the ancient site of Mison in Hoi An, the site of formerly more than 70 temples. Now only 17 remain after the Vietnam War bombing. This is the Citadel in Hue that I did live a tour of recorded material from here. Lots of these sites you can hire the outfits, the traditional costumes, and dress up for photographs. The pagoda, that's another spot I was texting you from, Annette. The pagoda. Lots of my communications with Annette happen while at the same time as I'm scoping out walking in the morning. And here's Kong describing a monument in Hanoi. This cafe had a lot of artwork in it that was the same situation with the artists, the Impressionist artists, where they couldn't afford to pay their bills, so they paid with their art. This is the monument to John McCain in Hanoi. And then we have some traditional stitching. They are silent, aren't they? That's Ho Chi Minh's actual house that he lived in Hanoi, the stilt house, and another view of it. And that's incense. These are the sticks of incense. Some traditional weaving. And back to the Mison Sanctuary. An incredible place. This dates to the 14th century. And we saw a cultural dance while we were there. And many of you may remember the gate in Chiang Mai that I took you through, and sections of the old wall. Onto landscapes, beautiful landscapes. So along the river in Ipoh, along the coast in Penang, a fishing village in Penang, along the river in Malacca, out on the river in Hoi An in the bamboo boat. We ate at that place a couple of times. It was really good. By the sea in Hoi An. And along the river. Rice drying. The rice fields of Hoi An. That was an amazing cafe. And the Vietnamese coffee is still my favorite. Well, thanks, Sarah. That's the bike we got out on in Hoi An. It was great that the hotel gave us free use of the bike. And Ninh Binh, this was my bucket list place to go, was to go out on one of these boats in Ninh Binh. I first read about it about 15 years ago, and this place looked absolutely amazing, and it didn't let me down. It was just beautiful. And that little pink thing there is a clump of snail eggs, apparently, as confirmed by Hui. Another amazing cafe. Look at the location. We had to walk across that rickety bridge to get to it. And this was the boat tour that I mentioned. These photos I took while we were out on the bike in the northern section of Nimbin. We stayed in two places in Nimbin. There's some buffalo. I just had a little tuk-tuk ride behind me. Very noisy things they are. And this was the view from our hotel in Cuppa. Then we went out on that bay, all-day cruise. Did you come along? How many of you came along to that tour I did from Lanha Bay? That was just amazing. I'm so glad we did that. I'd have to say our 3 memorable experiences were all from Vietnam. And then back in Hanoi, thanks, Lynne. A cityscape by the lake in Hanoi. And lotus fields. Another place where Instagrammers love to get their photos taken. That was just beautiful. That lake there at Sapa was just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Another opportunity for reflections. Always see rain as an opportunity to take reflection photos. And the view from the cable car. This place was down in the water. So your table and chairs were in the water in Trang, in Bangkok, in Thailand rather. So you kept your feet cool. It was great. Those are the stairs I did not climb. This soup is quite watery. And this tour, you may remember I did quite recently, the Wednesday walk from Chiang Mai. Animal encounters. I know you've all been waiting for the animal encounters, haven't you? Dressed up pup. That was an otter. Who remembers the otters? I might have taken a few butterfly photos. I thought that was quite funny. That was at the bottom of the Batu Caves stairs. That was the biggest snail I've ever seen in my life. One hot dog. And a big crab. That was the cat at the water place where we had our feet in the water. He came to visit and sit with us. These frogs were everywhere in that hotel in Hoi An. And that was a dog rescuer. It was a little cart and he had about 8 dogs in the back of it. So he cared for these old dogs in their old age. Grumpy cat. That's coming up. That's coming up next week, guys. That's coming up. Okay, onto the street art. Now that's in Melbourne. When I went to visit Susanna, this was that famous building in Melbourne. Singapore. All reflecting aspects of Singapore, these ones. Pick the real person in that one. Playing marbles. That was an artwork in progress. That's why you've got that machine on the right-hand side. Just love how so much of the art, the street art, depicts everyday life. And there we have the local dress of the local communities, reflecting local communities in Malacca. That was 3D art in train station in Kuala Lumpur. And that was in Concubine Lane in Ipoh. There's Marilyn. It's a traditional musical instrument. This is still in Ipoh. And the way that this particular artist, whose name I forget, incorporated actual objects into the art was really interesting as well. This was a community centre, and I have a feeling that these may have been real people, actual people that have been depicted in these artworks, a series of 3 or 4 of them. And then going to Penang, there was a lot of caricature style art. You might remember the tour I did with the wall sculptures that was all made out of, these ones made out of actual iron bars. So when you look at them side on, you can actually see that they're all made out of steel bars, iron bars. I love that one. And I love that there's an actual tricycle, trishaw next to that artwork. This was in Little India in Penang. And then this is repurposed materials. They're all fan blades that make up the peacock tail. And that's a pangolin that's been made out of a lot of car parts went into that, I think. Kong took us into this bar, but there were too many of us. She turned us away. The place was too small. There was no way we were going to fit. And you might remember Kong walked us through these particular murals. He actually took us through and explained them all. The flower sellers. This was really interesting sculpture in Hanoi. And that was a mural of a mosaic mural, a collaboration with Germany. It's called the German mosaic wall. So there are scenes from Germany that depict aspects of Vietnamese life, actually sort of blended together into the mosaic mural. This was in Sapa. Back in Sapa, you might remember the murals on the inside of our hotel depicting local village people, life. That was on the wall of our room in Trang. I need to plug in for power. 1 second. I'm back. You didn't even notice I was gone, did you? I needed to plug in for power. Some of you will remember this tour we did just recently, and then we had Alien and Predator in the cafe we went to. I thought this was quite artistic, so that's why I included it in this section in art. All right, now for some silly stuff. Remember when I took a fall? Couldn't walk for 2 weeks? Well, I did. I probably shouldn't have. Then I got a foot massage not long after. Once it healed, I got a foot massage. Richard being a giant squirrel. Richard getting a haircut at Quay's barber, who couldn't speak any English, and you had to call Quay and do a video call to see what he wanted. Me getting my feet tended to. Because you're wearing sandals all the time, your feet take a real beating. And now for some food. Are we ready for food? I promised food, didn't I? There's lots of it. That's bird's nest. Only $195 for a packet. That's Singapore dollars. They're worth more than Australian dollars. Breakfast. Dessert. That's called chendol. Delicious. Char kway teow. That's a coral weed with mango topping. These are all the desserts in Singapore that you could choose from. We had lots of roti in Malaysia. This was at the street markets in Malacca, the grilled prawns. Those were rice balls with chicken. This is McDonald's, Annette. Is Annette still here? There's a McDonald's sign. And some fish, seafood lunch. That was the fish we had. Amazing pastry. That was the yummiest thing. Gosh, it was so delicious. Filled with pistachio cream. That was frog. I regretted having it later when I found out that it's probably not the most environmentally sensitive thing to be eating. Hot pot. Yes, Tish, exactly. So that was the hot pot with an egg on top. We had oysters. One thing we've had is variety. That roti was really crispy and sweet. It was crusted in sugar. We had tandoori chicken. Richard had a hankering for a burger one day. We haven't had too many, I'm proud to say. These are banana flowers, I think. I'm not absolutely certain. Chicken rice, absolutely delicious. That was an Eco specialty. Nasi lemak wrapped up in paper as a takeaway. Fresh made noodles for a laksa. And a Milo topped ice dessert. Chendol again. Another char kway teow with prawns. The prawns were so good. Little Indian sweets. Another roti. I'm telling you, we had an awful lot of roti. Those are mini mangoes, tiny little mangoes. Chicken and rice, done differently. That was a toasted cheese sandwich. Soy noodles. Are you hungry yet? Dumplings with rice porridge. This was a Michelin restaurant, so Michelin guide selected restaurant for the past 3 years. the food was amazing, and it was really reasonable. One thing you can do in Asia is go to Michelin places, and it doesn't kill your wallet. It was a white, what was it called? I can't think what it was called now. Most of this is street stall food. This was in a Michelin star restaurant, that one there, and that was the outside of the Michelin star. It was only $50 for two of us for the whole meal. So cheap. And one thing this trip has done is it's turned upside down. There's the snakeskin fruit again. Turned upside down our idea on what you have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I mean, we've had fried rice for breakfast. This was where Hoi took us for lunch when we first arrived in Hoi An. That was lunch with Hoi, and they had duck, I had chicken. Expect to see everything at markets. Absolutely everything. This is a fruit that I forget what it's called, but it tasted like a cross between a pear and a melon. More spring rolls. Spring rolls are amazing in Hoi An. And that was a kind of dumpling with fried onions on top. Banh mi, which is a baguette with a filling. This was a Nutella and banana pancake. Those were the shoes that Richie got made at the markets. This was the hot pot we had with Hui. That was like on the left is a rice paper sheet, and you make up the rolls with the salad and the omelette and dip it in a dipping sauce. Coconut coffee with coconut shavings on top. And that was a kind of soup with fresh greens. Fish. I'm really happy that people are prepared to do your pineapple for you. People prepare your pineapple for you. That's how we buy pineapple all the time. Oh, Ronnie, then I would help you. I would help you. The food's so good. That was dinner one night. Sausage on a stick. That was breakfast the next morning. That's what I'm talking about. A big stew for breakfast. And then food in the local markets. Pork on lemongrass skewers. Bun cha is another meal that was amazing in Vietnam, and it's basically roasted pork served with a really thin rice paper noodle. That was a banquet for a graduation class in our hotel, so we had to walk past that, be taunted by it. That's just fruit juices served very elegantly. Breakfast. That was roast duck being prepared on a Vietnamese coffee. That's a little coffee maker there. Rice cakes that's served with your stew or your soup. There's dragon fruit with watermelon. And that's that very thin noodle. Mangosteen fruit. Not allowed in most hotels because it stains. And this is the buncha, the thin rice paper, rice pancake, I meant to say. And it's made on that pot thing there out the front of that place. Vietnamese coffee, my favourite. There's a pig being prepared literally at the traffic lights. Custard apple in the markets. And that's for chewing the beetle leaf that they chew. There we go. That's the bun char again. So you get it with a spring roll, and you get the roasted meat. Comes in a sort of a broth. It's absolutely delicious. That was the worst dessert I've ever had. It was called the tiramisu dessert. It was frozen. It was horrible. Shellfish and snails being cooked by the side of the road. Oysters. That was breakfast in Catbar, mango pancake. And that was lunch on the cruise, on the island, the Landha Bay cruise. This is where they make fish sauce. So anyone who uses fish sauce in their cooking, that's where it's made. We had clams, baby clams, for dinner that night. And that was another lunch where we had banh mi, baguettes. This is bhaji, onion bhaji. We had Indian. And that fruit, it's a weird looking fruit. It's called Buddha's hand. Not usually eaten. It's usually reserved as an offering at the small shrines. There's skewers being cooked out on the footpath. And they're served with noodles and lots of garlic. That was a takeaway meal, chicken and rice in Bangkok. And this was in the Bangkok markets, a paella. Thai takeaway. And a Thai salad with pork scratchings. Pad Thai. That was breakfast in the accommodation that we had in Trang. It was just beautiful. It was included in the price of the room, and it was just beautiful, amazing breakfast. Served in one of those tiffins. And these dainty little morsels. There's the snakeskin fruit again. I'm losing my voice. I don't know what's going on. And he offered me a taste. These things we did not try. And now we're in Krabi, in the markets in Krabi. There's so much different variety of food on offer there. That was called a Japanese pancake. This was taken inside a 7-Eleven. That was for Ronnie, Lynne and Annette's benefit. And chicken and rice at the airport. Oh, that was inside a 7-Eleven as well. That strange dessert. I'm not even sure what it was. Pumpkin custard jelly, that one says. And this was pad thai inside an egg, like an omelette. This was the Michelin star roti in Chiang Mai. Not Michelin star, Michelin guide selected. So roti with chocolate, 20 baht, which was about 80 cents. Oh, look at that. That's how they served our eggs. And that was khao soi, the local Chiang Mai dish, which is like a cross between a laksa, if you're familiar with laksa, and red curry. Beautiful, and like a noodle soup. All right, that's it. That's it. So that's 6 months of travel condensed into into photos and a photo presentation. I hope that was a not too boring way of presenting it. I hope you enjoyed it. There's not very many of you left. I think some of you left. Um, so that's how we spent the last 6 months, and you came along with me for a lot of it. So I'm really thankful that you joined me for everything that I choose to share with you. Thankfully, this presentation is going to stay up on YouTube. So if you want to go back and have a look at it later, that's yeah, go right ahead. These videos that I create, they're for us as well. So um, they're going to be great reminders for me. Like Richard and I will be able to go back to YouTube and see these videos that I've managed to put together. So I actually really enjoy doing them, not just for you guys, but for us as well. I'm not sure who's behind me. Look at that. Great hat. All right. So what have we got coming up? Today's Thursday. I think we're going to hire. There's a cute little bike for hire. We need to find out how much it is. But it's got a sidecar, and it's got like it's like a carrot. It's very weird. The one I saw has Snoopy on it. Like it's Snoopy is the when he's got his flying goggles on. Um, So it's got a little sidecar. We're going to see how much that costs. If it's not too expensive, we might take that out for a couple of hours or an hour or so today. Tomorrow, we're actually heading up to the waterfall. I've decided not to go to the bear sanctuary just because it is really expensive, and it's going to cost us a lot to actually hire the driver anyway. And I've discovered that you can walk past the bear sanctuary to get to the waterfall, and see the bears from the trail. And I've decided I'll give them a donation instead of paying a huge amount. For us, it's just not doable. It's not viable for us to do on our travel budget to go actually into the bear sanctuary. Even on the off chance that I might, recoup most of it later on a tour. So I'll give them a donation. We'll see the bears from the track as we walk past it on our way to the waterfall. And we're going to allow dairy. So there's a buffalo dairy on the way back from the waterfall, which sounds amazing. It's actually a social enterprise that's been set up by two Australian couples. When they discovered that buffaloes were only being used as a status symbol and insurance. So if you ended up in a situation where you needed money desperately, you could sell your buffalo. Otherwise, it's being used for meat. They weren't being used for dairy. So these two couples helped by renting the family buffalo. Once it was impregnated, so it was dairy ready. It was producing milk, and then helping the families understand that they can make yogurt and cheese from the milk. So helping them to get a second income for their families. it's a really interesting project, and I want to go and visit that. So I chose that over the bear sanctuary, if that makes sense. And I will bring you video footage from that as soon as I possibly can. Otherwise, join me next Wednesday for another Where Am I Wednesday. And it's getting very noisy behind me. We're going to go and have breakfast. Thank you so much for joining me, everybody. And I'll see you all later. Thank you. Bye for now. Thanks, Alicia. Thank you, Mary Lou. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Ronnie Lynn. And whoever's still here, thank you. Bye for now.